have a part of the lesbians and whatever. And so you look at women like in other countries, Western countries, where women have been moved to higher levels of responsibility, but they are also lesbians. So you know, you look at that as an issue that can be answered. Like if you say this position because you're comparing me with women who have messed up, lesbianism and all that, in the Church of Uganda, morality is something that we take so seriously. If I have made a mistake, I have to be taken fitting for church leader, then I shouldn't be anywhere as a church leader. But if my character is okay and I'm walking with the Lord, I am a Christian, I'm looking at the scriptures, then I do not see the reason why I cannot take up a position of responsibility. So there are some of the things that have come up. But then you look at Paul also saying, the same Paul who says that women should not speak in public. It's the same Paul who says there is no male and there is no female. You get it? So we are all open to serve the Lord. We are all open to be in ministry. So there are all those things that have come up, but they all have answers.
Sure. Talking about the answers, we'll look at one of the stereotypes attributed to women is that women are a weaker gender, especially when it comes to decision making. It is alleged that they can easily be compromised, they can be easily be taken in ministry, and how their service in the church is transforming the places that they take up. Besides the other stereotypes, and of course we know that some of these stereotypes are stereotypes as we put them, but they lack they lack proof.
So you asked about the contribution.
Yes, the contribution, the uniqueness.
But I also sit on the senior staff of the Diocese of Kampala. As I look at the parishes, I realize that every parish must have a woman clergy. Actually, we need to train more so that at least every parish, as we see them, must have a woman clergy. There are unique areas where you are a man, now we are talking, but there are certain things that you really need to talk heart to heart. I'm not going to come and begin to talk heart to heart with you. I'm going to need this woman to be close so that you as a gentleman can be able to talk heart to heart with the men, and someone can be able to talk heart to heart with the women. There is a way in which women have brought up this kind of sense of you know, we can't run away from being mothers. And that is probably where some people attribute the softness, the gentleness of a lady to be weakness, which I really don't take it, because that is how we are made. A woman, by nature, we're supposed to be gentle. We cry with you, we laugh with you, we do everything with you. But there are also things that menu that I'm not really going to, I come in here and I have to climb something, and I mean, that is not for me. If I have to climb and fix that bulb, and the gentleman is there, honestly, why should I climb and then fall? Let a gentleman do that. So there are roles that are ascribed to us, which we genuinely have to do. A woman will never be a man, and a man will never be a woman. So there is a uniqueness with a woman, and I delight in that uniqueness of a woman. I will never be a man, and I really don't want to be a man, because God knew why he created me as a woman. But as I serve in the church, I have this kind of look that I look at things that probably a man will not be able to look at. Women are naturally created with beauty. You mean when you look at this parish led by a woman, you need to see the beauty around, because we are people of detail. What is this detail? How is this going on? We are women who will sit down with people and I'm like, yes, what are you saying? I am interested in detail. And the gentleman might, a few of them are interested in that detail, but some of them are not interested in that detail. So we need to find that detail. But also we are mothers. And so we find that motherless spirit gathers people around you more than probably a gentleman would have gathered people. There are things we see. Women naturally are multitaskers. A man will be able to sort out one problem at a time. I can sort out 5 problems at a time. Because naturally I'm a multitasker. Women have to multitask. Because of the way in which it was a long process for us to get into ministry, we work hard. We do not want to leave a gap for people to think, after all, you're a woman. And that's what he's saying, that any mistake you make, they don't seem to understand that even a man could make that mistake. They look at you and say, after all, she's a woman. And so if I'm given a position of leadership, I have to work extra. I have to put in a lot of my energy. I have to put on a lot of wisdom. I have to put in a lot of prayer. Because there are many things that I cannot do without seeking the Lord in prayer. So I have also to put in that arm of prayer to make sure that I really do a lot. And because, they have categorized you as weak, you really depend on God more. You depend on God more, but you also take time to think about the decisions that you make, so that you don't just do mediocrity decisions, but you really make a decision which you have really thought about. And we are not weak, because when I make a decision, I go by it and I make sure it happens. It happens in my simple and gentle way, but I have to push the point home.
Okay. Now, talking about the priests, is there a way you use the church platform as an avenue to preach gender equality?
The gender equality, the way it has been brought out in the world, arising from feminist movements and all that. So I have that challenge, because sometimes it sort of derails myself as a believer and as a Christian. Yes. And so when I talk about gender equality, I'm also mindful of certain things that the world has imported and that some of us want to import into church. As I mentioned, in the name of gender equality. Yes, in the name of gender equality. As I mentioned to you, where for me I see gender equality is where we talk about ministry. You're a man, I'm a woman, and we are serving together. That is something that I would talk about and say, please, the way you give the man the platform, let the same platform be given to women. Okay. But what has been my problem is that I do not want, and I've always told the people, don't elect me on that committee because I'm a woman, but elect me on that committee because I'm able to perform. I would rather have 4 men and I'm the only lady, but there is performance, because I like results. But where you have gender equality and the results are not coming, you pointed this woman to this committee simply because she's a woman. You need to balance gender. I always tell people that I'm not here to balance gender, I'm here to perform. And so the gender equality thing, where we think that you just place a woman there for the sake of placing a woman there, is really not my gospel to preach. If you come there, be a performer. And so we really use our platform to remind the people that don't leave women. Women are no longer in the kitchen the way they used to be. So don't leave them in the kitchen. Don't leave them in the kitchen there. Allow them to come on the platform. We talk about educating the girl child in church. Please don't leave your girl down there to get married at 15, 14, when this girl is going to be very useful. I advocate to picking girls that have, even if you have children and you give birth to children early, I advocate that these girls can be brought back into school, or they can be given a skill, so that they don't have to be wasted down there. So that is for me my advocacy of gender. But this whole thing of just talking about gender, I must talk about it in the context of Christ, in the context of Christianity, not just for the sake of it. I don't go that direction, and I don't advocate that it can be preached on the church pulpits. We have to be careful the way we talk about gender in church. That
is very, very important. Now, talking about the very many women we celebrate in ministry, are there now, for instance, you as the provost, are there moments you encounter challenges, but these challenges are attributed to you as a woman, or maybe they could be the patriarchal, those archaic beliefs that people have over women, that when a woman is preaching, sometimes the sermon is not even taken so serious because it is a woman. Do you encounter such, or have you had stories of women who have encountered such?
Yes, I've heard stories of women who have encountered such. Of course, walking a journey in ministry, I was ordained in 1997, and walking this journey up to this far, I've had the moments when there's a time I was giving communion and some gentleman couldn't, so they told me, please go this side, don't go the other side, because that gentleman, actually, I think he was from Nigeria, he couldn't take communion from a woman. And I've also had issues where someone says, you know, you can't wed my child because you're a woman, my child. I don't think that marriage will be viable if my child is wedded by a woman. A few things like that. But thinking about a sermon, I do believe that where I have heard that woman, we don't understand her. It's really like you could say a man. That man is actually not a preacher. That woman is not a preacher. Those things are there. But I think over time as a person, I have built a career. I chose to get into ministry. Besides other things, I have chosen to pursue this career of ministry without wavering or looking at anything else. There are other things that I can do. There are other small courses that I have done. But my focus has been in ministry. And so when I'm going to preach, I really preach. I preach. I do not desire to do things that are half-baked, half-standard. And I think with the women, it depends on how ready you are, how prepared you are. People now, what they want is the gospel. Are you preaching the gospel? It does not matter whether you're a man or you're a woman. People can hate you. You can be a man, but what you're doing is actually not really matching the standard of the church you are leading. You can be a lady, but what you're doing is not matching the standard. And what I tell ladies, I say, when you go to the pulpit, preach like you'll not preach tomorrow. So that what you have shared, let it be the quality message that you really want your people to have. But those things are now general. They no longer affect women because I think in church now people have come to accept the ministry of women. And I don't think that we really have those things happening, especially here in Uganda. It will.
Students are joining universities. There is an additional mark that is given to them. I think it is a 1.5 added onto females to encourage them to study. Is it the same way as they are pursuing their theological courses? Is there additional privileges given to only women as well of motivating them to join ministry?
Well, no, we do not have those motivations. You know, ministry is different. It is a calling. And being that it is a calling, you really have to show that capability that you are really able to gain in this ministry. And it is something to do with your character. If your character is not okay, we are not just going to add your 1.5 to join the ministry. You must join the ministry, because right now you look at anyway, I can't say that we are 100% perfect in ministry. We are still struggling, because there are some people who have entered in vaguely and are there in ministry. But really there is total examination of your character, your background, where are you coming from, when did you receive this call to join the ministry, and that assessment helps us to get the exact person that we need for ministry. We cannot just say, okay, I think this one might be cohabiting, but anyway, she looks like she's good. We'll have to send you back to first clear your ways, clear your life, and be sure you are ready for this ministry. If you're not ready, please don't come. And I keep telling people, people who ask me that they want to join the ministry, I tell them, if it is not a calling, don't come as a professional. Because this is nothing to do with professionalism. It's touching people's hearts.
Are there people who have come to you and said openly that you motivated us? I mean, women who have said, you motivated me to join ministry, or you're my role model in ministry, or people you've mentored into ministry, women specifically?
Yes, they are there. They are there. They are those that have seen me and they have felt like, I think you are really my role model. You are the reason I joined the ministry. There are quite a number that are there scattered.
And how do you feel each time you look back at them when they're ministering and you're seeing them progressing in ministry?
It really gives me great joy. Okay. It gives me great joy. Actually, where I felt like I'm really passionate about this is one day when I had that one of them that really was my mentee. She just died suddenly. I could not hold myself. I had to run to the room and I cried out. I wept over this lady. And that is where I realized how passionate I was with some of these ladies that I have impacted, the ones that I have mentored, because I talk heart to heart with them. I tell them how they should live in ministry, and I pray with them. So it felt that day like, hey, so I have a lot of attachment to these ladies. So they are quite a number.
Okay. Talking about women in ministry, you know there is a lot that is coming up at All Saints Cathedral, but let's talk about the Women's Overnight that is upcoming. Why do you even call it Women's Overnight? Is it specifically for the women, or talk about the Women's Overnight?
Wow, on 8th, which is the real Women's Day, yes. That is when we have the Women's Overnight. And it's not a mistake that it's located on that very day. Because, women can be messed up in so many things, yes. But women need God. You can do all the things that you do, but a woman without God is actually, I would say, there is something cut off from them. So after they have celebrated the whole day and everything is done, we really want to get back to God and begin to put ourselves together and say, God, this is the way we are celebrating Women's Day in style, that we are celebrating this night before God, that even when a woman would have thought, maybe let me go and be in the club the whole night, they need to know that there is an opportunity for them actually not to be there, but to be in the presence of God. And so this day is really going to be a day that women are going to gather together to seek the face of God, to pray together. It's uniquely women. Okay. We have not invited any man. Hey. No, we've not invited any man. Probably the men are going to be on the machines. if we fail to get ladies that are going on the keyboard, okay. We might have men to be on the machines, and we cannot avoid them being in the sound room because the people that in the sound room are men, and we need their hand. We cannot work as women independently. But majorly, we are going to talk about our own issues as women. We are going to cry out to the Lord as women. We are going to speak to God as women. A woman is struggling one of these days. They are going through so many challenges. But if we come together and our focus is what is a woman going through, and how can we be able to hold it together and work together and pray for one another and grow together. With God, problems are solved. With God, marriages are put together. With God, our children come home, even those that have scattered. So those are some of the matters that we'll be praying about on this Women's Day. And we want to invite all women everywhere to come. And we'll be at All Saints Cathedral, and we'll begin at 9:30 p.m. and we are going to run through up to 6 a.m. in the morning. We want to invite all women wherever they are. The gates will be open from 9:30 p.m.
Are there specific things they should carry as they are coming, or everything is provided for?
Let them carry a Bible and a notebook. Yeah, but in the morning we'll provide a cup of tea for them to have a cup of tea before they go home. Yes. Okay.
So all women, you're invited. I was going to say we are all invited, but I remembered that I'm not a woman. Well, as we wind up this matter of women, are there still societal stereotypes that you notice are still in the society attributed to people being women, even as all these efforts have been enhanced? People have, you have shown people that yes, even women can be in ministry. Are there still stereotypes that you still recognize in society and say, okay, much as we have this milestone, but this is still like this?
Yes, I think there is still more trouble, especially as I move to my rural home. I get there and I still see early marriages are still happening. Young girls are being pushed into marriage. The fathers are still interested in dowry. They want to sell off a girl of 15 and they want to get money out of her. So when you reach there, you realize that actually girls are not going to school. There are many girls that are breaking off. They go to school up to a certain level, and still many think let the girl stay home and let the boy go ahead. So much as we have gone ahead, much as we've talked about these things, we still have those things happening. We still have this whole thing of domestic violence. We still have men rising up and waking up and beating women like they are beating stones. You know, you find a woman totally swollen and beaten up, and you're wondering what is happening in this home. And this man just still thinks, I bought you, I brought my cows, and therefore you must be my property. And they are being kicked up and down. And so you find that those things are still going on. You still find, I mean, a woman like being like, especially in the rural again, you find that a woman has to go to the garden and do all the garden work and do all the work, and then the man will sell the proceeds.
And keep the money.
Not even keeping the money. He will sell and go to drink. And then this woman continues to suffer. There are families where actually a woman is struggling to be like, they are almost like the heads of families. The men are there, but they are not playing their role. And so you find this woman, she's the one doing the fees, she's the one struggling, and that results in reaching somewhere, and this woman is strained, and therefore the children can't go further. And yet the children should have gone further and been able to redeem this woman and probably be able to help her ahead. So there are certain things that are still happening. The girl child is not totally delivered from the dangers of culture. Okay. They are still being used, they are still being sexually abused by their parents, and this came out very clearly during COVID, being abused by their own brothers. So there are still things that are happening. I think we still need a lot of talking. We need the grace of God, but also there are people, when you go to the rural, they are still so rooted in culture. They still feel a woman cannot do this, a woman cannot eat this, a woman cannot. So you really find that there is a lot that we need to do to pull out the woman and bring her to.
You've said there is a lot that needs to do. What are some of the things the church can do to address some of these issues?
I think I've mentioned this always, that the church needs to sometimes move off the pulpit with the people that you see every day that are actually already at a certain level, and go back down to the grassroots. For example, I serve at All Saints Cathedral. Can All Saints Cathedral one day move out maybe with the Mothers Union and say we are going to a rural place somewhere, and we're just going to talk about the girl child, be able to help the girl child to come up. I know that His Grace now is talking about the boy child. Yes, we need to bring up the boy child, but we still have to struggle with the girl child. So the church needs to move from where they are to the community and be able to see the reality of what happens in the community and be able to pull out the girl child. The church needs to be involved in some of these organizations, because we have a part to play. If we do not work on the spiritual lives of these young girls, we are not going to, because many of them are wasted. Go to the streets right now. You'll find the girls walking half naked. And today it is increasingly getting clear that girls are not afraid walking naked in town, much as they think they are dressed up.
You just need to pass by this street, William Street, in the night, just opposite Church House.
So we still have a lot to do. We need to join these other organizations, because some of these girls will not find them in church, but we can find them in other organizations. So we need to create programs as church that are going to go down to that girl who is on the street. How do we do it? So it is something which is a challenge to us as outreach. Where is our outreach arm as a church? Before we talk about them, I can talk about prostitutes in the pulpit, but there's no prostitute in the church. The prostitutes are out there. So how do I reach the prostitute? How do I reach these areas, the slum areas, where I find so many wasted girls? I mean, some of them with the baby children, they have a baby, the baby has a baby. How do I reach? I mean, you don't even go far. Around Kampala, there are so many baby mothers that are having babies. Is a baby, she's having a baby, and they are struggling. What are we helping? How are we helping those girls? I think the church need to go out We might not have a lot of money, but we can have so little and be able to bring out those girls. Some of them actually gives birth at 14, and now because they don't have ways of helping this girl, you end them at 16, they're having another child. Yes. This child is for a different man, and they also a younger boy. I can't call him. It's a younger boy. And at the end of the day, these younger boys and these young girls have little babies. And who is going to look after these little babies? Actually, if a mother produces at 14, the child might end up producing at 11 or 12. So those are some of the challenges that we have. But the church needs to go out into the community and do something.
Okay. Now, we talked about the women's overnight that is happening on the 8th of this month, which is Friday. So only women are invited. So a man don't say, I'm so thirsty with prayer. Let me go and have and spend the night at All Saints. Hey, they'll send a tent.
Yes, we can keep them in the tent, so keep listening. But we interest them to join online because this overnight is going to be online.
Yes.
And so you can go on All Saints Cathedral, Kampala, YouTube, and you'll enjoy the women's overnight through the night. Even the women that are not able to come to church, you can still go on YouTube and you'll join us. And for sure, will work with us. But there is a program that is coming next.
Yes.
Which program is actually for men and women.
Okay.
And this program is beginning on the 12th. It is our 6th prayer conference.
Yes.
It is starting on the 12th and we conclude it on the 17th. And we are going to have really prayer, like from morning at 8:30 and we'll run up to 6 p.m. So walk in any time that you can be able to walk into the cathedral. We know the week is open, but it is working days. So you can only squeeze the time that you have and come in. You can also set aside time and say, I need to meet with God and just be there. And we are crowning it on Sunday, the 17th, which is going to be what we have called a ministry Sunday. It's a ministry Sunday in such a way that we are going to touch people's lives. We are going to design the service in such a way that we have more time for prayer. Not that we will expand the time, but we will utilize that time to have more time for prayer. We'll ask people who want prayer to come to the front. We'll minister to them. So we'll take time really, because it's really a week of prayer. We have to crown it that way on Sunday. So if you are not able to come, please join our services on Sunday, on the 17th, so that we can crown up together. But we invite you really the rest of the week from 12th, which is a Tuesday.
Yes.
We start at 8:30 and we'll go through up to 6 p.m. And Wednesday, the same thing, through up to Saturday. The uniqueness of Saturday again is that if people are ministers, that you are really doing some work in the church, you are an usher, you are a council member, you are a committee on anything that you're doing in the church, it is going to be really special, focused on ministers the whole of Saturday. And we are going to empower the ministers, because what we realize is that people can be ministers, but they do not know what they are doing.
True.
Some people want to take it just as a privilege. I want to be there. But what are you doing? Want to help people know, understand the work of the Holy Spirit in their lives as they serve the Lord. So Saturday will be dedicated to ministers.
What about these other days, Tuesday to Friday? What is the program like between Tuesday and Friday?
Tuesday to Friday. Actually, Tuesday usually at All Saints Cathedral from 12:30 to 2, we have a deliverance hour, and that is still going to happen as part of the program.
The conference.
But the rest of the days, we will be having various speakers that are going to be speaking to us. So immediately the speaker finishes, there is a moment of a prayer response where people join together in praying. You know, when we talk about a prayer conference, sometimes people have thought, what are you going to be praying? Just praying.
For those 6
Yes. You know, some people pray without knowledge.
Yes.
And that is what Hosea says, that my people perish because of lack of knowledge. But what we are doing is we are teaching you to understand the word of God. If you do not understand the word of God, you cannot pray. That is why we have sessions of teaching and then a session of prayer. A session of teaching and a session of prayer. And then we have breaks in the middle. We are not providing food. we encourage people. Some people can choose to fast, or someone can step out and go and buy food somewhere, and then they eat and come back and continue with the session. But what we have seen over the years, people have chosen to use it as a fasting time, because after all, we are still in the Lent season. Yes. We are still in the Lent season, so you can have time to fast and pray, and then break your fast after 6 when you go back home.
Yes. I think let's talk about the mission week now.
Yes.
Yeah. When and how is it happening this time?
The mission week is going to begin with the Palm Sunday, that is on the 24th.
Yes.
Yeah, it's beginning on the 24th, and we'll crown it up on the Easter Sunday, which is the 31st.
Yes.
So we begin with the Palm Sunday, and this time we are having the new provost of All Saints Cathedral, Nairobi, the very Reverend Canon Evans Omolo. He will be arriving to be with us that week, and he will be sharing with us through the week from 24th. He will preach on the three services on Sunday. He will preach on Monday, will preach on Tuesday, Wednesday, and into Thursday. So we'll be having him on ground, but of course there are sessions that are going to be done by other people also whom we have invited. And so these sessions, we are going to be meeting every day, physical, at 5:30 p.m. So every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, yes, up to Thursday, we'll be meeting at 5:30 p.m. Of course, Wednesday, we will meet in the time of our midweek service, that is 5:30 p.m. And then on Thursday, we'll have Holy Communion, because that's Monday, Thursday, where we'll be celebrating the Lord's Supper. So we'll have that, and then we are also going to have foot washing. Of course, we don't wash the feet of everybody, but just a few, selected few, we're going to be doing the foot washing on that day. On Friday, we're going to join the Archbishop on the way of the cross. And yes, I know that not all people go to Old Kampala to sit there. And so we have a service beginning from 10. We have a service from 10 a.m. up to midday. We'll have a service. But then from 3 p.m. we have a worship evening. Because come next month, we'll not be having our Night of Glory, because when we do that, then it covers up the Night of Glory which we would have had. And so we do this worship night, and we are starting at 3 p.m. You know, it is at 3 p.m. when Jesus had his final cry on the cross and he rested. So it is at 3 p.m. that we are going to begin this worship evening, and we'll be there up to 10 p.m. So I want to invite people to come and join us in that worship night. Mainly we'll have worship and prayer. We'll be singing and we'll be praying. And we'll have the word shared in interludes as we go on ministering. So we invite people to come and join us. But also on the Easter Sunday, we are hosting His Grace the Archbishop. He will be ministering to us in the 3 services on the Easter Sunday, and that will be crowning up our mission week. So I want to welcome all the members and non-members and those who want to join us. Please welcome and be with us during that mission week.
Thank you so much. As we wind up our issues at hand extra, what are your remarks out there to the public? What message should they take, one, out of this Lent period, 2, out of the Women's Day and all the celebrations that are being prepared?
Out of this Lent period, actually we are walking through a theme this month that is called we are in the wilderness. We are moving in the wilderness, and that is Jesus moved in the wilderness. No water, no food, no everything. But we are not now. There is no desert here. So we are telling people that we need to be strong enough to walk in the wilderness with the challenges that we go through. How does someone overcome the challenges? And you overcome them in Christ without actually wavering away from the Lord. And so that is the message that we are giving to people. We are in this world. I mean, Jesus said you are in the world, but not of the world. And so he encouraged his disciples to be strong, because he had overcome the world. So we have challenges. How are we walking? And we encourage people that, as Jesus said, that some of these cannot go except with the prayer and fasting. So this is a season of prayer and fasting, is a season of focusing on God and just waiting on God to be able to help us to walk through the challenges of life, but also growing and getting stronger and firmer in the Lord. But also I want to encourage people during this, especially Women's Day celebrations. What type of woman are you? And if you saw someone like your duplicate there, would you be happy with them? That's how I want to encourage a woman to measure yourself. Maybe you are looking at your daughter out there. Do you really feel like, yes, she is my duplicate and I'm happy about what she's doing? So women must really, this whole week we are celebrating women. Women must think about, how do I respect myself? You know, God made us as women very unique, very gentle, very soft. You know, I'm not walking like, speaking like in that very big voice, but that gentle voice, that still and calmness. So I would want a woman to know that you are gentle, but you're firm. You're doing the things that actually build the nation. I get so happy when they say women are the mothers of the nation. But then I get challenged. How am I mothering this nation? What makes me unique and what makes me special? So in this season of women, I want to encourage women to find what is your unique point. What is it that you need to work at? How do you need to become that woman that you really see that God wanted to get out of you? We are created in the image of God. And so we need to portray that image that really God wants to see out of us. Let's respect ourselves.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Provost. And thank you so much who has been watching Issues at Hand Extra. Edwin Austin Mukalazi is my name. We were with very Reverend Canon Dr. Rebecca Nyegenye, the Provost of All Saints Cathedral. A lot is still continuing here on Church of Uganda Family TV. Just stay tuned and wish you a blessed day.